to Top Fives, the show of everything. Top Fives, presented by the Sex Effects. I'm Joey Brody.
And I'm Sean Day.
And folks, are we're doing a year in review. I can't believe that it is 2022, but here we are. But tonight, we're going to be talking about 2021.
Yes.
But before we get to last year's festivities, Jonathan Day, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. It's been kind of a crazy. It's not been too crazy of a week. It was New Year's Day, and we were chatting a little before we got on about New Year's, and I think the consensus was a lot of people just kind of did their own thing and stayed local and in their homes, possibly because of all the Omicron COVID stuff that's happening. So it was pretty chill. It was really chill, and it's just think about all the COVID stuff. I mean, it's a lot of cases popping up, and even it's affecting my work, and there's not enough coverage, or there's people calling out, or they're closing stores down. It's all sorts of crazy stuff. So hopefully things will get better, and
it's getting better all the time.
All the time. It's getting better all the time.
Can't get no worse.
Yeah. But it's been like that. Yeah, it was good. I'm ready for 2022. Let's just say 2021 kind of passed us by. I would say we all thought it was gonna be like, yeah, COVID's gonna be over, whatever. No, it's not over yet, guys. But I don't know. Excited for the next year, man. I'm always get excited at the beginning of the year and kind of kickstart some new goals or stuff you want to put together. So I'm excited.
Yeah, man. I feel you. I was thinking about it. I've had three. Hold on. Let's count CSU and B. Damn. I've had 4 jobs in the last 3 years, and I've lived just as many places. And just kind of all week long into the new year was just like, not this, last between Christmas and New Year, it was just like, it was like the first time I feel like I've actually rested.
Yeah, you deserve that too, man. Especially doing a lot of stuff, and it's not easy to change up jobs, and then with the move too, you moved as well, just before the year was out. So I think that's always a huge thing to and stressful too. Not gonna lie, it's always stressful. So, but it's good, man.
It was.
It's cool to like reflect and think about that stuff, looking back, and you've been doing a lot, you've been making a lot of changes throughout those, like even the last 3 years. So very, very proud of you, Joey. That's a tough,
Thank you.
It's tough to make those changes sometimes, and it's exciting also, to kind of switch things up and get to that, but it's a lot of stuff to process, right? So yeah.
Well, yeah, man. So, just enjoying the energy going into the new year, trying to, new year, new you, new me, new, hopefully, Arctic Monkeys album. Who knows?
I hope so. If that happens and it's just the best album, if it's my album of the year for next year, I hope so. Cool. We'll see.
2022 of the year, we get a new Arctic Monkeys record and a new film by Martin Scorsese. So.
Yeah,
hopefully
and the Batman's
I'm really
coming
looking forward
out
to this year. The Batman's coming out.
Yeah,
right before our birthday. It's gonna be good.
Ooh, are we gonna do like a movie date kind of thing? We should do that.
I mean, we could do that.
Well, I remember when we watched Force Awakens together.
That was sweet.
That was pretty cool.
We went to Lala Oceanside Grill because there was an IMAX theater down on Cannery Row. It's not there anymore. But we got. What do we have? We had some. We had their old fashioned, their angel share. They had like a speakeasy down below, and we just had many drinks. And then we went across the street, and I enjoyed the movie on that watch. I can't say I did any other time.
Yeah, we saw it in 3D too, which was kind of trippy, seeing a Star Wars film in 3D. But I was just thinking about, like, I miss going to, and I know we kind of I probably talked about it when we were talking about No Way Home and like the reactions of going to like kind of the first weeks of movies opening up. I've been to so many like opening nights with you, Joey, and also seen a lot of movies together for sure. And that's actually also one aspect. I know we do the podcast, and we also are in the band and everything, but that's one aspect I also miss. Not living close to you is like going to see a movie on a night, or have a couple drinks before and then go to the movies. So maybe we will do that in this next year more often.
I would love that. There's certainly more, I think, movies to be excited about this year.
Yeah.
Where things are starting to kind of, I'm scrambling a bit to try and, or I was scrambling the last few days to try and watch some movies from this year, because I really haven't watched or consumed that much media from this past year. So my two lists are a little stretched, but if I'd seen a lot of other stuff, I'm sure these lists would look very different given another month to kind of, now that stuff is starting to come out on streaming and
similar situation. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, well, cat's out of the bag. We're going to be reviewing our top 5 favorite movies and TV shows from 2021. Do we want to, I'd say we start with TV?
Yeah, why not? TV? Why not? TV shows. TV?
Sure. Just because I feel like movies are the big, that's the, that's my religion, man. Shawnee, what were your top 5 favorite TV shows in 2021?
Okay, so some of them are coming back for like their next season, I would say. So my number 5, and there was a lot of it's a mixed bag on this. My number 5 is Cowboy Bebop, the TV adaptation from Netflix, based off the 1993, I think, anime when it came out. And I'm a huge fan of the Cowboy Bebop anime, so I really like it. It's got a good mix of Western and space and all this kind of stuff. For all the mixed bag hate it got, I think it's kind of the same stuff that I'm just kind of like tired of with a lot of fandom these days, is like, just let it be its own thing. Like, you can kind of make it close to the original or adapt certain scenes or things. And I think a lot of the negative from it was like, oh, we want it to be this, and like almost like, shot for shot or word for word the anime show, which I can understand. It's like, staying true to the characters and all that kind of stuff. But I was thoroughly like surprised. I kind of liked the adaptation of this, and John Cho and some of the actors in it, I think, did a really good job to bring those characters to life, especially when we don't see that many kind of like live action anime to live action. So and yeah, it had all the elements I wanted from it. Like, in the original anime, there was jazz music kind of littered throughout through the show. So they had the same thing. They even brought back like the same band who like performed the music and everything. And even the way it was shot, it was very interesting, and the cinematography, and they did all these kind of different things. Some people complain there's too many Dutch angles, which I don't know too much about the Dutch angle.
I love Dutch angles. I am such a fucking fan of the Dutch angle.
There's a lot of that in the show, but a lot of people were like, all right, maybe back off on the Dutch angles, but I kind of like that part of it.
If it's used with purpose, it's wonderful.
Yeah. And the scale, and I thought even I was on the side of like, maybe it might be kind of too cheap looking, but it passed for like a show that also came out in COVID times too, where they were producing it during this time. So so Cowboy Bebop for number 5. That's my number 5. There we go.
I love that.
Number 4, this is not really a serialized TV show, but I guess it is like a documentary style. It's The Movies That Made Us, also kind of a Netflix produced thing.
Yes.
They had some of the horror movies like for this year. They had like Nightmare on Elm Street. They had also sci-fi like Alien. They had Coming to America, which I thought was pretty funny. So what I like about it is it's great to. I've always been so interested, especially with like music, but also movies. I'm so interested to see how the movie literally got made, like the steps on where, from the page to the script to like executing the whole movie and like getting the actors and all the things in place. Like, how did it happen? And I got really introduced to this series. Like I watched the Back to the Future one, and them talking about Back to the Future and how they made that. So it was it's such a cool series to watch, especially some of these films that some of them I grew up with and some I didn't. They're a little bit more back in the 80s, or for me it's probably more the 90s and on. But it's really cool to just see that process and see the kind of the pieces that get made. I think I watched one on like Forrest Gump. I think it's not on this season, but they did like Forrest Gump, and literally Forrest Gump was like a script on the shelf kind of thing, where like some guy just literally found a movie out of this script. And it's just great to hear like those kind of stories, where it couldn't have, without the right people and maybe the right passion for the project, it wouldn't have been made. So yeah, the movies that made us for number 4.
I love it. Every movie is a miracle.
Every movie. Number 3, this is The Expanse. They're on, God, I think it's when it came out, it was like season 6 or 5, one of those. I'm sorry, I can't keep. There's a lot of seasons in the show, but it is becoming one of my favorite science fiction, like space type shows, and they do so well with the production. It's on Amazon, and it's pretty much a show about if Earth and Mars were populated, and also like people who grow up and are born in space on these space stations, they call them belters. So it's pretty much about this kind of like this, like what would our world be if we had people living on these different areas in space? We're not necessarily like light speeding to different planets. We're just colonizing areas in our solar system. But of course there's like political factions, there's like, military and all that kind of stuff. It takes a little tip from, like Battlestar Galactica and all that, but it's really captivating, and there's kind of a mystery behind the show. And so you kind of start off the series like that. And then in this last season, there's some really heavy characters that they introduce that are connected to the main kind of cast. One involving like one of the characters and her son, and the kind of terrorist father that has become, has come under this person. So it's a lot of stuff that's happening in the show. So it's really cool. And I think if you're looking for like a space kind of thriller opera kind of thing, they're doing a really good job of bringing that to life on the television screen. So yeah.
Nice. I've heard a lot of good things about
it. Number 2, I have to put this because I was at the edge of my seat. I bought into the hype. I'm going to say Squid Game. One, it's really cool that we're seeing, a lot more foreign shows being produced and put on, platforms like Netflix for the American audience. It's not, some of the themes and some of the things in the show, it's not like the first time it's been done, but they do so well to really get you in, like, very focused on the story and focused on the characters. And you're not once like, there's not a dull moment in the show. And I truly believe the hype. I think it really, it was when I finally watched it, those few, I think it's like 8-9 episodes. It really got me at the edge of my seat. And I was like, whoa, I don't know what's going to happen to this character next. There's some stuff that surprised me. There was things that happened that you would think, it would be predictable to think this way, but they ended up doing something completely opposite from what that is. So I was like, okay, that's something that I like from a show where, there's a lot of TV shows that are being created, and, some of them kind of take the mold of maybe some other shows and kind of go from there. But, it does such a good job to kind of make its own identity, I feel. And I guess they're going to probably do a second season, with the popularity of the show. I would love to see more of those characters and see what they're going to do with it. So Squid Game for number 2.
Right on. Very good. I still got to check it out.
It's a good one. It's a easy, just like you can binge watch it for sure. But yeah, don't believe the hype, as they say.
Don't believe the hype.
It's just make your own opinion about it. Yeah. So and then number 1, which I just finished the season 4 season. It's Cobra Kai season 4, which literally came out December 31st of this year. So I guess it could count as a 2021 series.
Yeah, that counts.
So Cobra Kai is becoming one of my top favorite shows of all time. I'm not kidding. This is probably going to make my top 5 for all time shows, because they do so well to respect, especially again in the day and age where we have just tons of reboots and fan service being thrown at us. It does so well to respect and grow and develop the original Karate Kid, series, and of course you have these young teenagers as the cast, and it's got a lot of cool stuff, man. It's got a lot of good themes. It focuses on like bullying and especially cyberbullying in this day and age with kids and the internet. It has fucking
Now, see, I am of the rare breed that says bullying is kind of necessary, kind of not a bad thing.
You'll see. Yeah. If you ever watch the show, it's great because this season I just watched is like all the characters, like recognizing, understanding the young and the old are recognizing the cycle that happens when, your, let's just say your parental figure is treating you a certain way and that gets passed down. And it's crazy when you finally see these characters being like, oh, like that's what is happening here. And like, and it's really screwed up, but I mean, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to say because I mean, I think
I think a little bullying is necessary to build a person. Darwinism is becoming a lost art, really.
Yeah, to a degree. To a degree, it's some pretty messed up stuff.
I think cyberbullying is worse than real bullying.
Oh yeah, for sure, and they show it a lot in this series. But I mean, it's got karate. It's got. I mean, these kids actually are. I mean, I don't think they're doing all the stunts, but they actually learn karate, or they've been cast because they have those skills. It's great to see like the original characters, Dan LaRusso and Johnny, like these two guys, arch nemesis, kind of from their karate days, and trying to trying to like create their dojos and spread karate around the valley or whatever. But it's really good, and if you do eventually watch it and get to the first season, they do a great job of flipping the script on Johnny Lawrence as he's said to be the villain character in the karate series, but they do a nice flip and they have you watch. Most of the first season is from his perspective and what he's feeling. So they do a good job to humanize those characters and to really find ways to just tell you, find things to teach you through the show. And it's exhilarating. And it's funny because even the teen drama stuff, I love it. I freaking love it. Like,
hey, drama's drama. Good
drama's
drama, baby.
And it's so good. It's so good. And like, I really want to rewatch it. It's just such a good, I never thought, and I wasn't as, I wouldn't say I wasn't I was a fan of the Karate Kid series. I wasn't like a dedicated diehard, like Karate Kid all the way fan. But it's cool, man. They find ways.
Cool is.
80s kids, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
But they find a good way to really connect those. And of course, as the adults too, they're so naive and they're still trying to figure out their past and everything. And it's great to see like those parallels between the students they have versus the actual adults in the show. So. Cobra Kai all the way, man. Cobra Kai never dies.
Well, yeah. All right, Shawnee. I have seen not one of these on your list, cool. But that's a lot to possibly now check out.
Yeah.
I'm going to believe that it's a good list. I'm going to tell you that it's a good list, but I'm not. That's not an informed declaration.
Fair.
A good list, dude. Very good list. All right, so my list is very slim pickings. Number 5, I'm gonna go WandaVision.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't care for WandaVision. Overall, it wasn't my thing. Didn't love what they did with the characters. Didn't love how they did it. But that last 10 minutes or so, got me.
Very emotional.
When they were having this, very emotional. I burst into tears and I had a solid 10-minute cry. Ooh. Uncontrollable. Just like, the idea of, saying goodbye. And It's very. It was by the end of that show, it was illustrated very, very well, very poignantly, and whether I liked it or not, it did have an impact. So I applaud
Yeah,
it for that.
yeah.
Um, Number four, this show really had an impact. It's my guilty trash TV pleasure. I love a Mama's Boy on
Oh
TLC.
yeah,
I think I've told you about this,
yep.
where it's like 5 or 6 families, and the son is just a pussy, and just yeah, he's basically whipped by his mother, and for some reason these girls put up with it. It's wild to me.
It's
But it makes for damn good television, I'll tell you that much. Um, so I love Mama's Boy. If you're ever in the mood to like shut your brain off and laugh at the absurd that might be real, who knows how scripted it is, um, give that show a watch.
it's
And that
entertaining,
goes
I'm
for
sure.
you all too.
Yeah.
Um, Number three, I'm going to go Hemingway. It was a documentary by Ken Burns
Okay.
and his producing partner. I forget. I'm blanking on her name. They directed it together, and it's about Ernest Hemingway. And so you're getting a Ken Burns fucking documentary on Hemingway, and I love
Oh.
Hemingway, and it was great. It kind of dived more into like his. I didn't realize just how, I guess, narcissistic he became, and just kind of repugnant to be around. But he also like had this weird like sexual thing where like he kind of wanted to be a girl, not a weird sexual thing, but like for back then, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and they delved into like kind of this androgyny that he had going on. It was all very interesting. Um, and yeah, it's, I mean, it that's a man's man. You know what I mean? That is like he hunted things and drank things, and and he wrote things, and those things he kind of invented, um, what we think of as modern writing. Very short, deliberate sentences, and he was kind of one of the first to do away with like flowery
Yeah.
prose, and we're still doing that 100 years later, over 100 years later. So it's pretty cool. Um, Number two, Pen 15 closed
Oh,
out their run.
I need to catch up with that show.
It's
Yeah.
so good. It's so good. And I think they sent them out in a very nice way. The series is over now.
Oh, okay.
But the story, it came to a natural kind of conclusion, and those two actresses are just incredible.
Yeah.
They're also the creators of the show. And it's very, very good. It's very, very good. Maya Erskine, and I'm blanking on the other one,
Yeah.
but they're great.
I gotta catch
So
up for sure. That's yeah. It's hilarious, and the way they. I mean, it's always funny when there's like two adults trying to play their kid versions of themselves. But yeah, I don't even remember what season I left off on.
well, the best part is like you forget that they're adults because they
Yeah.
fit in so well with these kid actors, and they're so game for it. It's really funny. It's very touching too. It's a really great show. Um, Number one, I was kind of surprised by this. Um, I'm gonna go with Invincible on
I have
Amazon
not seen
Prime.
this one yet. This is another one I haven't seen.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
So it's
Cool.
animated, and it's kind of the idea of, it's again taking your dark, you're basically Justice League, and then making, excuse me, kind of, we exist in the real world, and it's dark and it's gritty, it's this and that. But actually, and I was watching, I was kind of like, okay, this is going to be one of those. I just watched The Boys, but it actually turns out, I think, to be kind of a very traditional superhero tale, and
Oh,
I
okay.
really, really appreciated it. I really loved it. It was great. I can't recommend it enough. Um, and then my true number one doesn't count because it's not from this fucking era, but I finally binge watched The Sopranos this year.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that was, honestly, that was the most time I spent with TV, was Sopranos, and it was fucking glorious. But there we go.
I
That was my
like it.
list.
I still
Oh,
still have to tackle the Sopranos, man.
it's so good.
I was like, man, if I ever, because I love reaction videos, if I ever did a reaction series ever, it would be probably Sopranos, because there's a lot of episodes, and I'm sure a lot of Tony Soprano, in there.
A
So
lot of him just eating and breathing, which is honestly my favorite part of the fucking show.
yeah,
Him just
I could see that. Yeah, I could see
I
that.
love it.
I
I
like
love
it.
it.
Good
Oh,
list,
it
Joey.
sounds good.
I haven't seen most of those on. I mean, I've seen Pen 15, maybe up to the how many seasons did they end on Pen 15?
Technically two, but the last one was split in half. So I think it's
Okay.
three. I count it as three.
So I might have watched probably that first season with them.
But it's not, I mean, it's yeah, the first part of season two is only like 8 episodes, and it's another like 6 on the back end. So it's very short. It's a very short run of shows.
Yeah.
But,
That's crazy, man. I like that. Good little
yeah, man.
good little list. It's been tough. I mean, I know it's we're stuck in 2021, COVID's and all that stuff, but there's still
I just
some
haven't
show.
felt like watching anything.
Yeah, well, we've had this discussion. I've told you probably before a lot. It's just like I've been watching YouTube a lot, and I go down all sorts of rabbit holes with that. I even watched something about like I've had this interest in like photoshopping, and I just watched some dude just like create like Photoshop illustrations from the ground up, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. I'll watch this for like
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
hours.
YouTube is where it's at. I hate kind of being that way, but that's what I'm watching. I'm watching Patrick H. Willems or High Top Films or
Yeah,
forgive me, Nerdrotic. Yeah.
There's a lot of
Awesome.
discussion too, and it's great to see like people really do what they like to do, and I think that's always really cool. So yeah. Maybe we'll have to do
Right on,
YouTube in the future. I think we've done a YouTube list before, top
My
5.
YouTube algorithm will get me canceled. So let's not do that.
It's all good.
No, I'm kidding. I like watching a lot of history. I really love history.
Yeah, history. I love. For me, it's like
Yeah.
music documentaries
Yeah.
or like kind of
Yeah.
music
I like
things.
just like old interviews.
That too.
Yeah.
You could find a lot of interesting videos, like backlog videos like that, like interviews
Yeah.
and historical
I watched a
stuff.
lot of video game like history stuff.
Yeah, me too. Actually,
There's one guy called Scott the Woz.
Scott the Woz. Okay.
Yeah. I find him kind of nerdy and charming, and I've been watching his stuff, and he'll be like, all right, these were the dark ages for Nintendo, or okay, this is
Dang. Okay.
he'll break down like, okay, this was the launch of this system. There's a few of those guys. My YouTube algorithm is very fucking nerdy. Actually, it is, this fucking British guy who just reviews like everything James Bond,
Oh, sick.
and he's just he's wormy looking. You know what I mean? Like he's hilarious and funny, but he's not like you know what I mean. Just like all right, and he dresses on old tux. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Hey.
I'm on a weird rabbit hole too.
No, dude, it's my consumption for this even the last 2 years. Like strictly, I'm always on YouTube, and when a show like Cobra Kai or like when it comes out, and it's like I'll refocus and try to watch this. It's still into the binging, but also I still love to kind of like I don't want to finish the show yet. You know what I mean? So even Cobra Kai, I kind of like let it run for a few days. Maybe watch a few episodes and then switch it up or whatever. But I have a backlog of shows I'm trying to get through, just like new seasons and stuff like that. So, but it's just, man, I'm still back on YouTube. That's the thing. It's like, do I want to sit down? But it's and I think it's up to us, man. It's really up to how you want to consume your media and stuff. So there we go.
There we
go. TV shows 2021. There we go.
There we go.
If you guys if you guys are watching us, tell us your top 5.
Tell us your top 5
TV shows, or mention a show we haven't mentioned tonight.
Succession. We know. No.
Succession.
Ted Lasso. I know.
Yeah, I know. Succession's pretty. Yeah, Succession's pretty good too, man. I haven't watched the last season, so.
It's been blowing up on the Twitter.
You know what? I got to put an honorable mention. I really liked Dave, that came
Oh
out.
yeah.
The second season I think came out this year, and I blew through that one. I actually might do a rewatch on that one. Super, I mean, funny, just talent, all sorts of stuff. You know, Little Dicky and the cast around him. So that's my honorable mention. I guess I forgot about that. I was like, oh man, I actually really enjoyed that show. So.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm gonna yawn.
Oh, you're good, dude. All right, we got our next list, guys. We're going from TV shows to movies. So, Joey, what are your top 5 movies of 2021?
Okay. Okay. So I want to just say that there's a bunch of movies that I really, really want to see, but I haven't seen yet. That includes Red Rocket. That includes The French Dispatch, um, Licorice Pizza.
Yeah, I heard about that one. Yeah.
There's so many that I'm so excited to see that I unfortunately haven't yet. So my list would change drastically if I think those three would probably be in. I'm guessing, but just anyway. um, Number 5 is I'm gonna go with Ride the Eagle, starring Jake Johnson. The premise is that his mother, played by Sandra Bullock. No, not Sandra Bullock. I just watched Miss Congeniality. Susan Sarandon, um, which is not a 2021 movie and hasn't aged tremendously well. But Susan Sarandon dies, and she leaves him a videotape and is like, okay, basically, to get your inheritance, you need to do everything that I tell you to do. And basically, it's a lesson in learning to love yourself and that kind of thing. But him and his mom had been estranged because she had been like part of a cult and abandoned him.
Oh man.
Wild.
Okay.
The movie isn't great, and it's not great because the character never really encounters any challenge. Basically, they go, "You have to do this," and he's like, oh, "Okay." And then each thing he just kind of goes, "Okay," and he does it. And there's never like a moment where you're like, "Oh my god, he might not."
He might not do this.
He might
yeah.
not fulfill this. Like,
yeah.
But you're spending an hour and a half. Holy shit! With Jake Johnson, and he's just a fun kind of personality to be around and watch, and I enjoy his presence, and I enjoy the way he delivers his dialogue and that kind of thing. So for that, I think it was worth it.
Hey,
Marty, it's okay. Freaking out. Someone rang the doorbell. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but he is freaking out right now.
It's okay, Marty.
It's okay, bud. Okay. Number 4. We just talked about this movie last week, Spider-Man: No Way Home. I had a good time at the movies. It was a wonderful theatrical experience. The movie, now that I've sat with it and everything, and everyone, oh, it's the best Spider-Man movie, it's fun. It's fun as a movie-going experience, but you know what I mean? I have too many nitpicks and problems and what have you. Mm-hmm. It was enjoyable, but like yesterday I saw that Disney's like, all right, we're submitting this for Best Picture. I'm like, you gotta fucking be kidding me.
Dang. What?
Yeah. So, that I think just seeing that kind of knocked it down a peg in my just like, come on. But number 4, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
There we go.
Number 3, I'm gonna go John Watts. Ridley Scott's The Last Duel.
Ooh, haven't seen this one yet.
It is really fucking good.
Damn,
and it looks boring. You liked the Martian, right?
Yes. Is it very in that kind of?
It's nothing like The Martian. But what is like The Martian is that every piece of dialogue, every moment in the movie feels very like it's just propelling the story forward. And you might not understand that for maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and then you realize the mechanism in which Ridley Scott is telling the story, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing here.
Okay. Okay.
And it's and you know Matt Damon plays like this brutish kind of fucking moron. Adam Driver plays kind of a sleazy, slimy, but like kind of charming guy. And then you have Ben Affleck doing kind of a British accent, wearing a fucking blonde wig with a little blonde soul patch. It's fantastic. It's
What?
phenomenal. Ben Affleck is just having the time of his life in this movie. He's just being a piece of shit. It's hilarious. Um, I had a lot of fun with. Like, it's weird to say that I had a lot of fun with Last Duel because the subject matter does get very heavy. Um, but it almost plays more like a dark comedy than
Okay.
anything else.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Ooh, I'm kind of curious to see this now.
Yeah.
The Last Duel.
Number two, this is going to be very on brand for me, uh, is a movie called Benedetta, directed by Paul Verhoeven, and it's a French film about an Italian nun in the 16th century or 15th or 17th century, whatever, during the plague, and basically she exhibits divine powers in connection with God all throughout her life. And she becomes a nun, and she starts experiencing stigmata, and
Oh man. Okay.
um, but at the same time, no, there's quite a few people who aren't exactly convinced that she, is telling the truth about all this. And on top of all that, she begins a lesbian affair with a young nun.
Whoa.
Uh, it is wild. I feel like the last year and a half, I've really kind of fallen in love with Paul Verhoeven. Um, I think Basic Instinct is really, really fucking good. Super Troopers is really, really fucking good. RoboCop's great. Showgirls, if you view it in the right way, is fantastic. Um, yeah, so I don't know, and he's 83, and it's one of the horniest fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. And it's very good. I highly recommend it. It is in French, but man, I had a good time.
Dude. Okay.
Great time in
Interesting.
this movie. Yeah, yeah,
I kind of want to see that movie too. Jeez.
it's fantastic. Um, we did a double feature of Benedetta, and then we watched Spencer, the Princess Di movie.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
I still don't know how I feel about that flick.
Haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
But number one, Peter Jackson's Get Back. I'm counting this as one film, even though it's split into three parts. Yes, it was everything I wanted it to be. I wanted there to be more, quite frankly. 8 or 9 hours, I could have
You
done.
could have watched it.
Give me 24 fucking hours. Give me all 60 hours of footage. Um, but yeah, I loved it. I loved it. So happy that we have this, that we can watch this, we can, just that we get to be fans in this time that, because that's 50 years, you know, um, those people on the street that heard them, play that day on the roof in London, a lot of them never lived to get to, see this footage or whatever. I think it's kind of fascinating, that it's kind of unearthed so far away, but just close enough that maybe you were there,
Yeah.
Uh,
Dude, that's so cool. And it's
yeah,
great. It's great we were able to have like footage like that just put together, and
mm,
I think
yeah,
it's especially having the moments with the Beatles. I watched a little bit of the first episode or first part. And yeah, it was everything like
how
you
did you do
described.
that? How did you turn it off after just a little bit?
I have to got busy, and but I definitely want to watch the rest of it. Yeah, it's really cool to be in the room with them while
Yeah,
and just like a lot of stuff that we see music wise, even with documentaries, it's only small moments. small moments, or it only lasts for so long, those moments, and it's great to kind of get it unadulterated and unfiltered, even though they still have to edit like so much footage, but it is great to see that, with especially with a band like the Beatles, and not really, it gets you a little bit more up close to see what the process was of like how the Beatles work together as
Yeah,
well. So that's cool. I like how
which
that's
is
your.
wild.
It is. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. You can see that like
Yeah,
so many years later, dude. Number
man, that's my
one,
list. Yeah, easy.
easy. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that, Joe.
Although Benedetta really kind of gave it a run for its
Benedetta,
money.
yeah, was the one, huh?
But yeah, that's my list. I'm very curious to hear yours.
I like your list. Yours is
Thanks,
because
man.
I like how you have a few, like, because you always have like some foreign films or stuff that maybe might be, I wouldn't say outside of my ring of knowledge of movies, but you always check out some of the stuff that is really hard hitting and heavy, kind of movies that are out there. So I want to watch The Last Duel. Is it The Last Duel or Last Duel?
The Last Duel.
The Last Duel. I want to watch that. Actually, that came up in I think I was watching. Yeah, me and my reaction videos. That came up in a reaction video. Someone I was following. So I was like, oh man, what is this? But I didn't want to watch
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
it's a heavy fucking flick. Like it's at the center of it, I will say, is about a rape. So if that is the kind of thing that and this isn't necessarily for you, but for the audience, if that's something that's triggering or anything, like, maybe avoid this one. But I do think that it was done for the most part fairly tastefully, and as truthfully as you could get doing this movie. So yeah, and somehow still found a way to be wildly entertaining and in parts wildly hilarious. Like,
Dang.
that's, yeah.
Very, very
Whether I was
interesting.
supposed to be laughing or not, I don't know. I hope that I was.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely check that out, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the French film. What was the French film called again?
Benedetta.
Benedetta. Benedetta.
Yes.
Cool, man. Well, my top
fire.
five is it's kind of the usual what's been out in theater. Some of them I actually got to see in theaters, which was kind of cool. So I'm gonna go number 5, Encanto, which was like the latest Pixar film, which they did put on. If you have Disney Plus, it's on there now. But I actually watched it in theaters. I went with my girlfriend
Nice.
and her 4-year-old son, and it was. I mean, from where Pixar's at now with animation, it's just incredible. What you see now is just unbelievable. The amount of still, it feels like animation cartoon, but it's just the realism and the way they and colorful too, the way they use the color palette and everything, I think is really cool. It's I don't want to spoil the movie, but it talks about a family, and their all these family members get this, like, on their like special birthday, they get like a power, because they were blessed with this miracle. And it talks about the main girl and the main character is the one who is supposed to receive this power, and then she ends up not getting one on her birthday. So she feels like she's not chosen. She's not, has this. So this kind of deals with, families and, trying to find kind of the special in you, I would say, is like the kind of the message in there. But I mean, top notch Pixar animation, this, of course, a very, emotional story that's very, I think a lot of people can pull from, into their personal lives, I would say, because that's what Pixar always does. You don't have to be a kid or adult. You can be a kid and or adult and still get something out of it. So I'm going to say Encanto and Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music as well,
Ooh.
who's done like Hamilton and all that stuff. So.
Ooh. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He just seems like a prick to me. I don't know. Is that just me?
I mean, I mean, maybe the way
The thing
presents himself, maybe, but it's like, dude,
I saw an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where he plays a version of himself who is a prick, and that I'm just like, that's him. That's who he is.
It's crazy.
in
He's
real life.
him like John Favreau is like taking over the Disney stuff, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like he's doing a lot of the music and stuff for some of the movies and everything. Number 4, I've got James Bond: No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's last
Ooh.
James Bond flick. Even though I felt like it wasn't the strongest out of his series of James Bond films, I still really love Skyfall. It was a nice way to kind of, finalize and finish the James Bond Daniel Craig series. And, with that series, they kind of gave us a whole, more, kind of a deeper backstory and deeper kind of look into James Bond as a person rather than just having kind of like the typical spy, kind of genre stuff. And, I liked how they did that and treated that with this series with Daniel Craig. And so there's a lot of those kind of themes that happen. He kind of, has, themes of loss and, thinking about, why he became an agent and all those kind of things that, don't get talked about in the previous series or people who've played James Bond. So I'm glad, even though, and of course, Daniel Craig, the controversy with him not really wanting to continue and all that stuff. All that aside, I thought it was a really enjoyable James Bond film, and I think they ended that series on a high note, I would say, in a way. So, yeah, James Bond, No Time to Die.
Right on.
Let's see here. Number 3, I'm gonna go. No Way Home for 3. I did enjoy the movie. There was we talked about in check out our last episode on it. We chatted all about that. I wasn't very keen on the first kind of half of the movie and how that went down, but it did deliver as far as, fan service for the for the amount of fan service it gave us. I was really surprised and pleasantly happy that they found ways to, again, take that kind of fan servicey moments or bring the nostalgia back, but also find a reason and a meaning towards it in some way or form. And I liked how that went. I think both of us, before we went into the movie, were like, I don't know how they're going to do this. Like, I think they're just going to throw stuff at us and then we're just going to be like happy that it's there. But, is it really going to serve the story, or is it really going to teach us something, especially for Tom Holland playing Peter Parker, Spider-Man? Is this character kind of grow? Even this is his third of his franchise films, but it's 6th, I think, in the whole MCU stuff. So I was really pleasantly surprised how they kind of handled the kind of, even from the second act on, and just kind of how that went down. So, and of course, it was a really good fan experience and being in the theater, and it really made me again miss going to the movies and really, even seeing like, first weekend or first, the first few showings of it was really kind of a cool, special occasion and special experience. So, yeah, No Way Home for number 3.
Right on.
I've been kind of back and forth on the 1 and 2. I'm gonna go 2, Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
Very similar feeling with No Way Home and Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think they found a good way to connect the previous Ghostbusters films, found a good way to honor the characters and maybe some of the people who've played the Ghostbusters. And I don't mind. I know a lot of these movies are a lot of the kind of younger cast. A lot of people say it's the Stranger Things effect, where bringing in younger cast members to kind of do it. But I think it really helped this movie because I was I got interested in the characters. I do wish there was more development on the characters themselves. Maybe they might explore that in a future movie if they do that. But I liked how they treated the Ghostbusters franchise with the utmost respect, as far as like paying, tipping their hat off to that and finding a way to integrate it into the story. So I was actually really surprised about that part of it. And it's it's a Ghostbusters movie. It's fun and all that kind of stuff. And
That's cool.
yeah,
The trailers didn't look very fun.
Yeah,
to me, it looked just kind of like
it. I like those aspects of it. The only big criticism I have of it, it kind of suffers from that Force Awakens feel. It,
Mm.
it does follow very closely, not to the T, but it does follow some of the beats from the first Ghostbusters movie, including the villain is like, and it's not no surprise in the trailer, but the villain from the first movie is pretty much the villain in this movie. But they find a way to
The giant marshmallow man.
no, it's the what's it called with the Z? I can't. Oh, at the top of my head, I'm like blanking now. Any of you
Oh, the
Ghostbusters?
slime creature thing.
No, it's the god character that like it's the two beasts, and oh man, I can't believe I'm blanking on this man.
Well, I'm
Uh,
not a I'm not a huge Ghostbusters fan, so I've seen them when I was a kid. I don't really remember them too well. Um,
it's pretty much the Gozer. Sorry, Gozer. That's the
Gozer.
it's that god character and the two beasts, the key master and the gatekeeper, and they have to
Gotcha.
all that stuff. But they integrate that villain into the story of this one, and even though I thought that was kind of like this has been kind of done before, I think that was their reasoning to bring like the Ghostbusters kind of franchise into this movie is like it's a threat that we had from the first movie. So, but that's my biggest criticism. The rest of it was pretty fun, and I think they did a good job of kind of paying homage. um,
Nice.
so number two, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and then number one. I just actually recently watched this movie. I actually got recommended this movie from my dad, Michael Day.
Ooh.
It's Don't Look Up, which was a movie that released on Netflix, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. About the kind of the scenario of what if scientists discovered this comet that was heading to Earth and it would kill pretty much everything in its path on Earth in like the next 6.5 months. And it's I think it's kind of like satirical. It's got like it's serious at times because it's a huge threat, but the way they use the kind of satirical humor in it, it's crazy because it does reflect a lot of maybe some of the political stuff and the kind of climate that we've had in the last few years. With obviously the QAnon craze and Trump and all that stuff. It does so well to kind of highlight those things of like this is a real thing. Like the human race, especially America, has gone through stuff like this where we've had leaders like this, and this is how they would react if a comet was coming to kill us all. And maybe what the planet and what other what people would think about that. And of course, there's if we found out that was going to happen, people would capitalize on it and do podcast about it. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a really interesting commentary on that, where you can also maybe parallel it with the impending climate disaster that we're currently in, and what would happen if we just ignored that. And it's weirdly like satirical, but very like it's really like true to its point of like this is how we would react to this shit because it's happening right now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why also my dad found it very interesting, because he's like, well, this is kind of like when I look out my window and this is what's happening. You know what I mean? So yeah, and of course Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, killer cast. They do so well to kind of put you in the shoes of these these people who are studying these comets and everything, and they find out, and then they're asked to like immediately go to the White House, and it's like they can't even believe they're like this is happening, and just a lot of stuff, like the end of the world kind of stuff. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very interesting. It's good commentary on maybe some of the social stuff, that aspects that are happening today, and it's one of my top films for this year. So there you go.
Very nice, man. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that yet. That's interesting. Yeah, the reviews on that one have been very split. Um, so that gives me hope. I wanted to see it. I saw the reviews, and I was like, maybe I'll wait. But now I'm like, okay.
It's a
Maybe I'll
good.
check that one out.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not like
Nice.
the greatest movie ever, but I liked what they were talking about in the film, and I think those are the kind of films that get me now. Is do they have kind of an underlying message that really kind of gets under my skin? So
Of course.
yeah,
Yes. Well, that's very good. It's a
yeah.
very good list, Shoni.
Thanks.
Um, yeah, I haven't seen other than Spider-Man. I haven't seen any of those on your list, and I gotta
That's
check
cool.
it out. I
We got a
really
lot.
gotta check out No Time to Die.
Yeah, we both got movies that from this. I think we're kind of this in the same boat as far as there's been a lot that's been released for sure, especially on streaming. But I feel like this happens every year. I just you kind of fall behind on or there's just a lot of movies out now.
There's a lot of
So
movies, and it hasn't been safe to go to the theater. And then you gotta wait. And then you got
yeah,
um, who knows? But it's starting to. I miss going to movies. I'm hoping to do more of that this year. So
there we go.
yeah,
There
there we
we
go,
go.
baby. Jonathan,
Yes.
anything you would like to share with our dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience?
Yeah, I mentioned we've talked about YouTube and all that. So I mentioned this YouTuber who does kind of like Photoshop, and I found the first video I saw from this guy. His name is Benny Productions, and he's kind of looks like a young guy. I mean, maybe in his 20s or something. But I've always had this fascination with like photo editing, and the first video I saw from him, funny enough, it came out probably around when No Way Home came out. Was him transforming himself into the Green Goblin using a picture he took of himself, and it wasn't the Raimi Green Goblin. It was kind of the traditional one with the hat and the skin and the pouch and everything.
Right
And
on.
it was the most interesting thing to watch because you're just like, how is this guy gonna do this? And it makes me very interested to see how people do Photoshop and editing, and like especially I've had an interest in like special effects and all that kind of stuff. I just want to see how's a guy like this do this, and I just sat down and he does one of those like he kind of converts it into like a 10-minute film, and kind of does the speed run or whatever of it, and then he shows you like his techniques, and it's like crazy how it's like small stuff like lighting and highlighting certain images. Like those are small things that can really the light source and everything like that really can make and sell that image of like what you're trying to do. So I just went down a rabbit hole with him, and he has like these challenges. So his like viewers send him like pictures, like drawn pictures, and some of them are like really detailed, and some of them are like really not detailed. They're like super simple stick figure or whatever. And he takes those images and tries to create those characters or creatures or whatever it is in Photoshop, and I just found that like super interesting, and it's
That's
it's
cool.
crazy. And he literally takes images like he made a creature, and he takes like, I'm gonna take the mouth of this like fox and like make it the mouth of the creature, and like it's just insane what you could do with photo manipulation these days. And when I always think Photoshop, it's like, oh, it's just like fixing your pimples, and you know what I mean? Like, there's only so much I know of Photoshop and what you can do with it, and it's great to see like these are how artists are creating like visual
Yeah.
masterpieces and stuff. So yeah, check it out. He's got a whole bunch of videos, and those challenges are just like fun to watch for a few minutes. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
How about you, Joe? You got something to share?
I've been talking about him a lot. Holy Ghost. It's a Brother Laughing Monk Brewery beer.
I have. Yes, I have had this before.
They're from out in the Bayview in San Francisco. Hoping to check out the brewery soon, but it is delicious, and I highly recommend. So
Nice.
just giving a shout out.
I like that. I like some good beer. I literally just spilt my beer as you were saying that. So
Oh,
I know.
oh,
Oh, I got so lucky. I got so lucky, dude. Oh my god, it got caught. Oh god. Okay. Luckily, the whole beer didn't pour out, so that's good. I'm gonna have to clean that.
well, that's very good. Did you put a lime in there? Did the lime like act as a
It
damp?
did not. Yeah, I did not have a lime in there, but luckily it didn't
Damn.
spill too bad. Yeah. I have to clean that up, but it's all good. It's all good. But
It's
I
all
like
good.
I feel like I've tried that beer before, but I don't know where I had it. It must have been on tap somewhere or something. Um,
Yeah.
Gone to a few
Every once in a while you'll
breweries.
see it.
Yeah,
It's
once in a
good.
while. But yeah, I like that, dude.
Yeah, man.
Little beverage,
A little a little beverage.
little beverage.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, welcome to 2022, Jonathan, and that goes for you all too. Um, a sincere thank you to the dear, sweet, lovely imaginary audience for you know traversing with us into the new year. We have over 4,100 followers on Twitter now,
Yes,
and
thank you
that's
for
wild to me.
following.
So thank you guys. Say it
Yes,
again.
thank you for following. And yeah, we've been, we've made the transition to go on other streaming platforms, and it's been showing. So we're really happy that you guys are listening, and even viewers who are tuning in on Twitch right now. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And more to come. We'll have some more guests coming onto the show, and yeah. And then
Yeah.
we're kind of creeping up to. I mean, we're at 233 today. We're creeping up to that 300 eventually. So we might. I don't know if we're gonna get. I mean, we probably will get to it this next year. Do you think?
If we're consistent.
If we're consistent, yes.
Yes.
So we'll get there. But we appreciate anyone who's tuning in and anyone who's listening on the other end. So yeah, yeah.
Yes. Well, very good. Jonathan, where can we find more of your work on the internet this week?
You can find me at Sean Day Music on Instagram. You can see it below me on the screen
Below me.
below. And with the same name, you could go to SeanDayMusic.net and
.net.
look at my website, check it out. I'm kind of like trying to find ways to. I want to integrate more of the top 5 stuff in there too, so I'm trying to find a way to do that. I was even thinking just create a top 5 page on there. So, but yeah,
Mine, yeah. Check out how I did mine.
okay,
Because I think it just links to
easy, yeah,
whatever.
make it easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out. Yeah, always doing stuff on there. So,
Very good.
Joey, where can we find you on the internet?
You can check me out on Instagram and on Twitter at Joey Parati and on my website, joeyparati.com. You can check out the show at Top 5 Pod. That's TOPFIVE 5 POD on Instagram, on Twitter at gmail.com. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Music and Google Cloud and SoundCloud and Google Play as well as. What else are we on, Shawnee? We're on Anchor,
Spotify.
Wherever you listen to your podcast, please give us a like, give us a listen, give us a follow, give us your love, and we will give you
all the 2022 love in return, man, for this year.
all the 2022 love in return, man, this year. Until next time, I'm Joey Brody.
And I'm Sean Day.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.